So can you see the Kibana dashboard?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me start that way. On AS24, we have a statistics pixel, a known statistics pixel. If you, for instance, do a search, you have a call on the statistics pixel, as you can see here. And if you scroll down on each vehicle ID, on each vehicle or listing, we show up, the pixel will get called and so on. It unfortunately doesn't work for me on the detail at the moment. I don't know why. I asked Valentine. But anyway, statistic pixel is called. What does that mean? We do now have a call on an IAS web server where this statistics pixel is located. And this is a balanced web server. We have 3 of them currently. And in Kibana, you can see the log files of all those servers. Let me add the computer name. Then you can see, okay, this one was on server 2, 1, 3. So on all servers, we have statistics calls. Yeah, and what it does is it depends parameters, which has meaning about something. For instance, CHN means channel, and there is a cool insight blog entry from Marlies where it's documented what all those parameters are for. I mean, there are more than those, and we also have this query string parameter where we add the search query. But these are the main used ones if you do statistics. So again, channel means the channel where it comes from. We also have information in our DB, therefore. And as you can see, we have all those channels, the desktop web, the mobile web, the iPhone, Android, so also version for iPad and so on. We do have a parameter for the domain, the DOM parameter, which stands for Autoscout, Motoscout, Anivis, or Comparis. Then we have one for the views. So if it's the home, if it's the search, a detail view, a list view, leasing, and so on. We have different kind of views. So all of them have an ID. Then we have vehicle types. You already know those. Our vehicle types and user types. If it's a dealer, an agent, or a private user. So all these parameters are sent almost on every request. We're requesting that statistics pixel. So you can do things like that. For instance, let's say currently we have 204,776 hits within the last 15 minutes. I mean, hits to the website where this statistics pixel was called. And it's not only used on the website. I mean, you've seen the channels. It's also implemented on the mobile phones and so on. I know we have Google Analytics and other tracking scripts implemented on any kind of application we have, but this one is the one we can somehow rely on more because it's our pixel. And as far as you know, I mean, the Google one can get blocked. I mean, also this one can get blocked, but it's a little bit more reliable. So that's why we have, besides the Google Analytics possibilities to track data like that, we also have our own. Let's start with, for instance, let's say we do want channel view 4, which is the detail for channel 1. which is the desktop solution. As you can see, it's 8,645 hits within the last 15 minutes. Yeah, and if you, for instance, want to see what's going on the iPhone, how many detail calls we have there, you just need to update this value to 2. Then you can see the amount of calls on the detail on the mobile, on the iOS device. So means if we talk about mobile first, and we do have a lot of traffic on our devices nowadays, you need to summarize this. If you want to have the overall mobile value, you need to summarize this. Yeah. Or channel equals, we need to add the Android ones, the 4. Then we get already more than we have on our desktop solution. So you can do a lot of statistics here. And this number here for the detail calls is, we don't take the number out of Kibana or our Elastic DB currently. We do have, we want to do that in the future, but we weren't able to rely on this data in the past. But now we have a new setup, so we could use that one. And we also could use it for real-time hit counters. And currently, we do run a job during the night. It's a console application, which is called the AS24.jobs.statistics tracker, which runs during the night on all of 3 web servers where this statistics pixel web is located. And we summarize and store the data into our statistics DB. So this job runs in the background. It uses the log parser from Microsoft. So this one. It's a quite old software solution, but still very performant. And it stores the data in our statistics database. For instance, we get all URL parameters that are used on our searches into our database. And for instance, we know that this one had today 1 hit from that domain, that channel, that view. So if you want to have it over just AutoScout without the channel, you don't care about the channel, the view, and so on, you just need to do a grouping and an aggregation of those numbers here. As I said, those jobs, this statistics tracker runs on each web server. As you can see here, this is the console application that is added to a task scheduler. The one from server 1 starts at half past 2 in the night. This one at 3 o'clock on server 2, and this one at 3:30. So they don't do it at the same time because they use a lot of performance. Yeah. And they also, there's a setting in the database where it's mentioned where the log files are of the statistics pixel. and where the passes of the statistics of the log parser statements, log parser statements are kind of like SQL statements. I will show it later. Yeah, so as you can see here on int, it's 2 servers, and on live, it's 3 servers that are configured with log file information. And we also have a server name here. And if you, for instance, look at these values, you have a log parser source history ID. When I check this value 6016 into our log parser source history table, you can see this was the last one, which got executed at 3:30 in the night on web server 3, and it ended after 13 minutes. So if we have a problem on one server and the data, we need to rerun the service again for that log file. Whenever you execute for a day again, you know, there's like the log file is stored here. We first delete all the values that belong to that ID. And then we will populate all the statistics again, you know, for instance, for this server. There's also one for log parser source history ID 15. You see, this is what happens on server 2. So first, always server 1 is running, then server 2, then server 3. And yeah, the times are like, the start time should always be like the time what we set here when the service will start. Yeah, so again, statistics tracker job does execute log parser statements that are stored here. Let me check where the statements are. There are the statements. Huh? Those are all SQL statements. But it runs against the IAS log file. For instance, phone calls. You see that's a select statement. On the field, you know, log files are also like comma separated. They look like tables. They have a column name and int, string, or whatever values. That's why also here for this log parser, there's the transact SQL language that is used to extract the data. And we also remove some bots. Yeah. In the past, they were maintained by the PMs. Nowadays, if we need to update things like that because there's like a bot. Currently, we block them before with distill and so on. So maybe that's not a problem anymore. But there's also friendly ones we wanna stripe out because they generate detail views. We don't want to aggregate because it's not really, you know, there's not human beings behind such calls. That's why it's not you shouldn't classify them as a hit in the database. So a lot of information that we get from this statistics pixel is stored in our statistics database here. For instance, this as I said, this vehicle hits. For each vehicle, you have a hit information in total and the one from yesterday. And in the future, we want to have that real time. Currently, as I said, it's done during the night. But we are now able to use this one, so we should use the solution here to calculate our hits. Yeah. So that's mainly it. The log files, I think IIS log files. This one is from the statistics web. They are ordered by date, so every day they generate a new date, a new file, and it's based on UTC. As you can see, they start at 2 o'clock in the morning for a new day. You can open them using for tools like Beartail or Trailblazer or something like that. So a huge amount of data. As you can see, it always refreshes. Those are all counts. So you can also search in here, but it's not that performant and easy to search through the file as you can do it here with Kibana. You could also do like dashboarding stuff, and there, for instance, if we say, okay, the detail hits our pixel, it always must work. We need to set up a monitoring, and therefore we, for instance, can say, let us do a monitoring for the channel 1, so the desktop web, and the detail view. And if this value is below, let's say 1,000 hits, because during the night we need to be careful that it doesn't generate an alarm. But or like, let's say if the last minute didn't create any hit, so this value is 0, please do an alarm. So we always know that our tracking pixel is working on the desktop web. Same you can do for the mobile web and so on. So whenever we do a wrong implementation on app side, means we don't call that pixel, and we recognize it somehow 3 days later when a customer tells, hey, my hits did decrease. Is there something wrong with your platform or what's up? Then we see, okay, oh shit, we did a wrong implementation on the app. Let's fix it. But we cannot get the data back from this 3 days. So that's why this pixel always needs to work. So we can then set up monitorings based on that. And yeah, now who's responsible for? Hard to say. In the end, it's the team that is handling the search, because they're also responsible for for this hit, or that this hit count works. So they should set up a monitoring for that. It doesn't need to be the devs. It can also be the QA or whatever. But we need to do it because I mean, we had cases that our customers recognized things earlier than we did, and we need to prevent that in the future. So again, really powerful environment we could use for monitoring and analyzing data. Yeah. So that's mainly it in terms of log statistics pixel and log file reading and vehicle hits we are showing in on the dashboards and in the vehicle pool and so on. I think I went through very fast. I hope I didn't lose you guys. Are there any questions, feedbacks, concerns? I mean, again, we once had this initiative to have a real-time count. We failed because we couldn't rely on the Elastic solution we had at this time. Then we had troubles with what are the data for a day, because the day started at 2 o'clock and so on. So we had this time zone gap. It wasn't that easy, but I think we should really tackle that very soon. Yeah, because I mean, nowadays portals, they do have real-time information. How cool would that be if you come to your vehicle pool and then there's like popping up messages, this vehicle was very attractive, it was watched like 10 times in the last hour or whatever. Yeah, you would have much more possibilities if you have this data in real time. Yeah. So that's it mainly from my side. Again, questions? No? Then I'd say let's finish this session for now, and let's see you in 30 minutes.
Thank you, Alessio.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, thank you.
See you.